Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today we are not at Red Tool House. We are at the 2024 Homesteaders America Conference in Front Royal, Virginia. And we've kind of made this a new tradition that when we come to this event, Kelly and I like to walk around for the 2 days and just kind of look at all the products, all the vendors. Obviously we go hear the speakers. But we really like to highlight at least 3 products that we think are kind of rise above the top, kind of exceptional. And we want to share those with you guys. So come along. We've got 3 products we want to introduce to you, and in full disclosure, we've purchased 2 of the 3. I would have purchased the 3, but we'll explain that at the end. So come on, come check us out. Okay? All right, so one of the products we want to feature is what we've talked with Kate here, and this is the Vermont Evaporator Company.
You got it.
So first of all, thanks Kate for taking the time
welcome.
to talk with me. So tell me a little bit about what you guys got going on here.
Sure. So about 10 years ago, my husband and I moved on to an acreage in central Vermont and found out that we had sugar maple trees and wanted to make some maple syrup, but couldn't find anything small enough to get started at a reasonable price point. So we invented something that we call the sapling evaporator, and that's what's right here. And this little machine is portable, meant to be used outside, so you don't need a sugar house. And it can handle up to 50 taps. So 50 taps is enough to make anywhere between 12 and 25 gallons of maple syrup, which is enough to keep our family of 4 in sugar for the year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we started out with subsistence, and then we've moved even bigger actually after this, but it inspired us to start a company and get other people started in making syrups. And in our neck of the woods, that's maple. But there are a lot of trees actually that you can tap and make syrup out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at here obviously is a wood-fired boiler.
Yep.
And it's kind of based off a 55-gallon drum concept,
Sure
right?
is.
So you took that as a base.
Yep.
But then you guys have taken the huge evaporators and you've reduced them down to scale properly with this 55-gallon setup.
Yep.
So I know this much about maple syrup, so I'm kind of dangerous with the information. But obviously this is your pre-boiler, I assume, right?
Yep.
This is where you're warming things up. And then you've got the triple pan situation here. So as it works its way through, then of course, finished product on the end.
Absolutely.
So it's basically everything you expect in a large scale evaporator. It's just scaled down for a little homesteader scale.
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. So you've got 3 different units here. What's the difference between the 3?
So the sapling evaporator we make ourselves in-house in our factory in Montpelier, Vermont. And the sapling, you can pop off the pans and put some other things on it, including grill grates and a pizza stone. And grill and smoke and make pizza on the same barrel unit on the off-season, what we call the off-season. Right?
So you're multi-purposing the use.
Exactly.
So this isn't just a couple months out of the year, you stick it in storage. Yep. Now you've got summer activities with grilling and pizza making.
Yep, exactly.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yep, and then so that we can have several different price points, we also have a do-it-yourself barrel evaporator kit.
Yeah.
So we sell kits so that people can make their own barrel evaporator either out of a barrel that they already own or with a clean barrel that we send them.
Yeah. So, and I know you mentioned this, but kind of go back to this idea of really the drive for this. This was kind of more like family scale structure, right? It's not full size sugar, but you also said being able to do this outside. So what makes this able to be outside of a sugar shack versus what would need to be inside?
You know, it's mostly its weight and its portability, right? So all set up, this is no more than 100 pounds. So 2 able-bodied people, when it cools off, can take it and put it somewhere else out of the way. The evaporators that you could otherwise buy on the market are more expensive and are heavier and sort of need to live in a permanent place. And in order to live in one place, you got to cover it because otherwise it's going to get wet and it's going to freeze and thaw and all that sort of thing. Right. So that's one of the selling points, as well as the multi-purposeness of it all, which we talked about. And then it's definitely for a home scale or a homestead scale operation. We sell to a lot of schools. We sell to sort of farm-to-table restaurant outfits, nature centers, that sort of thing. But it's in addition to being a good subsistence tool, it's a good way to prove a concept for somebody who's thinking they might want to make a living or make part of their living making tree syrups. Good way to get started.
And the large bacon press we have here?
That's actually a lid. So what happens is it's Saturday night and you've been boiling for a long time and you're ready to go to bed, right?
Yeah.
And so instead of staying up all night, you can tamp down your fire a little bit, pour off your stuff that's almost done, flood this pan with sap, and put a lid on it. And that keeps the squirrels out.
Exactly.
Right? Otherwise you might have
more pure.
Some problems in the morning.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, those of you guys who are watching, you probably, if you've been with the channel long enough, you know that we did something similar where, more redneck, red tool house style. But a lot of the comments we had were about the gaps, and this is what you've taken care of, Kate, is the fact that your pan is custom built to the size of the gap, so there's not a lot of heat loss going around. We had 2 little pans, and we had a big gap, and all those type of issues we had there.
Yep, and in fact, we
even
have
got the opportunity
some pieces here that are just a little bit flexible that you can really kiss that
take
pan
out
with.
That.
And with we actually sell it with another stack piece. We just don't have it attached right at the moment. But with a 4-foot stack, it really creates enough draw so that you're not even having a little bit of smoke coming through. It's not sealed, it's not welded, but there's enough draw to keep the smoke away from your batch.
Exactly. So that keeps affecting the flavor, keeps from having heat loss and affecting the flavor. You don't want a smoked syrup.
Exactly, unless you do.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Well, tell me about this rig here, if you don't mind. This is something interesting too.
Yep, this is the smallest reverse osmosis system on the market for maple syrup.
Awesome.
Okay, its claim to fame is its size, its collapsibility. Everything can be unplugged and then put inside and closed up and put away.
Nice.
Right? And then also another innovation is this UV filter.
Yes, I saw that.
So sap goes in the white tube by virtue of this pump, goes through a sediment filter that takes out the dirt, and then goes through a UV filter that sterilizes the yeast and bacteria. And that, raw sap is like raw milk.
Yeah.
It's going to have some degradation over time if it's not refrigerated. But this UV filter allows you to neutralize those yeast and bacteria that are already in the sap so that they're not eating your sugars.
Right.
So you can store your sap for longer in a refrigerated condition.
Which works great for a small setup because you may not have that many tabs.
You're going to save it up over the week, and you're going to boil on a weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. And then this is the workhorse, the RO filter, and that takes off half of the water so that you're starting at a 20-to-1 ratio with maple instead of a 41-to-1 ratio.
It saves a lot of fuel.
Saves a lot of fuel, saves time, is of the essence. So.
And it doesn't look like this is obviously pulling a lot of power. Aquarium pump, it looks like there, and then your UV light. You running 110 or 12 volt or?
Oh boy, I knew you were going to ask me that on camera.
Yeah, it looks like 110. I'm going to say 110.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
110.
It can plug in. It could plug into an extension cord from the house.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. And
but
it's
extremely portable. So if you had a generator, like if you were going out.
Yep.
And for some reason you were away from the house or away from power or if you're off grid.
Little battery will do.
Yeah. Not a huge draw there.
Nope.
Incredible. So I assume you all ship?
We do ship.
Okay.
Yep. And the prices on our website represent the complete price, so shipping is free to the customer.
Yeah.
And we have shipped to now 40 states and 6 Canadian provinces. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
that's excellent.
We've got some practice.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll definitely put the information down in the video description for you guys to check that out.
Great. Thank you very much.
Kate.
Really nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice talking with you.
Thank you.
All right, so here's another product that really got our attention, and I'm talking with Tom Carter. You are the owner of CoopWorks, correct?
Yeah, my daughter and I. She'll be here shortly.
Awesome. So Tom's got a really neat feeder water system here that's really got our attention. And Tom, if you would tell us about it real quick.
Sure. Yeah, it's called CoopWorks Feed Silo, and it came about. My daughter in Ohio had chickens on her farm. They got 40 acres, and she was just looking for a better way to feed her chickens. And so we just sat down and made a list of everything we wanted to see in a chicken feeder. So she didn't want them sitting on the top, so we developed a slope roof so they don't perch on it. Wanted to be able to open the lid and fill it without having to set the lid on the ground.
Love it.
Wanted it in a pouring rain to stay dry, so we put drip edges on here, and then the ports are located underneath, which keeps the feed from, it can be in a pouring rain and stays dry. Yeah. Then we also didn't want rats and mice to get into it.
Yeah, that's
so it's got a metal plate, and then this post is adjustable, so you can raise and lower it. And this holds 40 pounds of feed.
Yeah.
And then we've got an 80-pound model here. It holds 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And
obviously a little latch here. Keep the raccoons from
keep raccoons
doing
all
what
out
they like to do.
Yep. And then the X base here, you can stake it to the ground if you need to, if you're in a high wind area.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I really like. Check this out, guys.
Or we have a stake mount. So you take the stake mount, drive that in the ground, and then the post slides over it, and then you can telescope and raise and lower the height of this if you need to. So
so we're on slope. People see our coop systems on slope. So this would be great because we wouldn't be able to stake that down properly and have the
right.
be plumb.
Yep.
But being able to drive this in the ground makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And I love the rodent barrier.
The rodent plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
they're made in North Carolina. We're in Wilmington,
okay.
and they're rotomolded in Smithfield, about 100 miles from us.
So how's this hold up to UV?
Great.
Okay,
It's got the company that does our rotomolding does swimming pool and playground equipment.
Oh, okay.
And it's got a stabilizer called UV8 in it, and so it's been tested under 8,000 hours of UV light.
Oh, wow.
So it's designed to last for years. So,
Good deal.
and we ship them all over the U.S. So, so it's been. And so you have the single stand, and then of course you got the 4-leg stand. This is the 80-pound model here. Comes with telescoping legs or the base.
Yeah.
And this will hold 80 pounds of feed.
Yeah.
And the funnel inside, purpose of that funnel is to channel feed to the outside area so that
the
the
big dead
chickens
space of unwasted.
you don't have any dead space,
Yeah.
so there's no wasted feed.
Yeah, it gets all cakey. And,
we did the home built. We built Tupperware with the plumbing elbows.
Yeah.
And what we discovered was that they couldn't get to all the feed, so she's having to move the feed around.
Built
This,
up
they
humidity
get to all of it.
That's great. And you have a companion water too, right?
Yeah. So we took this feeder and decided to make a water version, and so it's the same body, but we designed our own little nipple system here, so that they either flick it or peck at it, and we've got a little cup, just a little bit of water, and so they'll peck at it and drink the water and kind of carousel around this thing.
So how many gallons of water?
This holds 8 gallons of water.
8 gallons.
So.
And you've got a heater and a float valve in this as well.
Yeah, this is made by a company called Farm Innovators. So it's a heater, the 250 watt heater, and it just does a great job of keeping it from freezing in the winter. This is an autofill valve. A company called Hudson makes it, and so we've added a bracket and the connectors. And so if you take this and hook it up to a garden hose, low pressure, then you don't even have to fill your feeder. Yeah,
and we talked yesterday that you said your valve is like 6 PSI is all it requires to operate?
Yeah, very little. So a rain barrel, and if you've got 6 to 8 PSI, it'll work. Up to 80, I think.
Yeah. So typical rain catchment that we talk about all the time, you don't have to worry about pressurizing this through your line. You can do rain catchment as long as you got that 6 to 8 pounds of pressure. Then you can be able to work that.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
The other thing we found is we mold these really thick. So I mean, this is almost a 1/4 inch thick right here.
Yeah, that's beefy.
And what we didn't anticipate was that how clean the water stays. And it's because sunlight's not getting to it.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me until we had a customer had one for months and said he'd never had to clean it. So anyway, the water stays remarkably clean. It also stays cooler because it's thick and sunlight's not getting in there.
Yeah.
And then to wash it out, you just lift it off the base.
Yeah, I love the fact it's just simple.
We have a wing nut on these, so you can just take it and unscrew it if you ever needed to replace.
Yeah. So y'all direct to consumer, I assume you can buy online.
Yeah, we assemble and ship out of our place in Wilmington.
Okay.
And we also have it's on Amazon now, just
awesome.
for distribution, so somebody on the West Coast can get it quick.
Okay.
But we do ship everything out of Wilmington, assemble it there.
Yeah, and you have some wholesalers or dealers.
We do.
Well.
QC Supply, Hen Gear, Best Nest Box. I'll leave somebody out. Hatching Time, people like that carry it. So yeah, I get to do it with my daughter, and so it's great. We're having fun with it.
That's fantastic.
And Homestead shows. We just want any shows we can do.
Yeah. And the price points on the 3 here?
The 80-pound feeder is $225 plus shipping from Wilmington, and the 40-pound in the water is $195 plus shipping.
Okay, is that as far as the different bases go? It comes with a base, or you just?
It comes with a base, so you can choose the X base or the stake mount for these, or the legs, the X base or the stake mount for the big one.
Excellent. Okay.
And the reason is that's got 8 sides, so we can put 4 legs on it. This only has 6 sides, and I just didn't want to do a tripod, for visibility. Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it.
That's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping
Great
by.
product you have here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been.
All right, so here's a product that really got our attention. Kelly and I have actually been stalking Fred here for the last 2 days to get a chance to talk to him because his booth has been packed out. So Fred has this incredible device called the Rock Pot. Fred, first of all, obviously we're going to get into some of the details of actually how it worked, but how did you come up with this, and what's kind of the overall motivation to develop this? Because you've been in product development for a long time.
I have.
So why did you get into cooking?
So actually, I'm not much of a cook, so that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you that what happened is when I was a young man, we're talking 38 years ago, I got introduced to hunting through my wife's family. And every year they had a tradition where they take a venison roast from the year before, take it up, put a stew, go up camping, and at the end of the time when we'd set up, we'd have the stew. Never hot, ever, right? So then we'd have to jerry-rig a fire and something. So one of the nights when I'm sitting there by the fire, I thought about pioneers, being from Utah. They used to take a stone and put it in the pot, like if they're doing a stew, and that would heat it. So I thought, what if you had a stone underneath it and then insulated around it, you'd have a cooker. So I actually made a very ugly version of this 38 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah,
wow.
And then during COVID, when things got really weird, my wife and I were on a walk, and she saw we were at Walmart, no toilet paper, no water, no canned goods. She said, you really ought to make one of those rock pot thingies.
Yeah.
And so I was motivated because I wanted a way to cook in an emergency.
Right.
And that's what came out. My youngest boy saw it. They actually run the company for me, and they've done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
But that was the motivation.
Yeah. So this is like an off-grid instant pot pressure cooker. Yeah, it's just, I love how and it's vacuum sealed, so it's got incredible insulation. I know you were saying yesterday that you could use it for a cooker, but then if you also want to put a bunch of ice and some cold ones down in it, it's going to keep everything super cold too.
Exactly. It's no different than those cups everybody uses nowadays. It's a little thermos cup. Yeah, those have about an 1/8 of an inch gap, and imagine how efficient those are. This actually has a 5/8 gap where we've vacuumed all the air out, so it's extremely thermally efficient.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to jump behind the camera and I'm going to detail, Fred's going to go through the details of actually how it works, how you heat it up. Really, really neat. I love this from off-grid application, and like you said, when maybe the stuff hits the fan, even if you're living in a townhome and you don't have any electricity, or I think of our friends in North Carolina and Tennessee and now in Central Florida that are dealing with a lot of power outages, here's a way to still have a hot meal. And all you got to do, even if you got to go out in the backyard and burn some furniture, you got an opportunity to get some heat going there. That's great.
Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred.
You bet. You bet. What makes it so unique is it's a portable cooker. You can actually cook 3 different ways. You can bake in it, you can grill, or you can use it like a portable crock pot. What makes it work is the stone. It's made out of 2 natural materials. We actually turn it into this. What you can do is you can heat this 2 different ways. You can actually heat it in a fire. It takes about 20 minutes. Bury it right in the coals. Or you can heat it on any cooktop. It could be gas, electric, propane. It goes in here after you've heated it. So about 30 minutes on a stovetop. Here's the awesome part. You put whatever in the inner pot you want to cook. It could be ribs, chicken, lasagna, roast. Then you get to take it with you. And even though you only heat it at a half hour, it's going to cook all that raw food and keep it hot for 8 to 10 hours, depending on what's in it.
That is incredible. So yeah, man, a lot to unpack there. So it's really neat. So you're talking about heating. So we could go old school on a campfire.
Correct.
Heat this thing up.
Yeah.
Or we could go to our gas range in the house, oven, any type of heat source that we have.
That's correct.
So how do we make sure we're maintaining the proper temperature of that? Okay,
so first of all, if you're not using a stovetop, gas, electric, propane, or even a glass top, you're going to probably need to use this because you're going to heat it in a fire or a grill. You want to get it at least 100 degrees in that range. The hottest you can get it in a fire is 1,000. So you can't overheat it, won't burn your food, won't hurt the stone, but we want it at least in that range, okay? On stovetops, it's just a half hour. They're very predictable, so we know how hot it'll get. And as far as how cooking temperatures in the rock pot, let me just give you a quick description. If it's vegetables, rice, pastas, or meat, those are anywhere from 60 to 80% water, like we're made out of water. So if that's what you're cooking in here, it won't get above boiling point, which is about 212 degrees. So if the stone's fully heated, it'll actually stay at 212 degrees for anywhere from 4 to 5 hours and then taper off, right? Now, if there's any open air space, it'll let the temperature of that stone, excuse me, come up, and it'll get to like 400, 450 in there. So it's really what you put in the rock pot is going to determine how hot it gets. And since it seals all of the air and moisture in there, it literally won't overcook like a crock pot or slow cooker because it keeps that moisture in there. I can show you one that's got a roast cooking in it if you'd like.
Yeah.
So at 6 o'clock this morning, which is over 6 hours ago,
okay,
I heated the stone in here on my stovetop in my RV, put in a 2.5 pound raw pork roast, and filled it with potatoes and carrots. So that's like 6 hours ago. It's not hot on the outside, but here, check that out. I'm sure you can see the steam coming out of that.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, roast is all cooked, veggies are cooked, and it'll still be hot till about 6, 7 tonight, even though I keep opening that thing.
So is the roast laying on the trivet underneath there?
Actually, the roast is literally right on the bottom of the pot. Now, we do have layering pans, so you can layer stuff. Okay. So you could do like barbecue ribs at the bottom, rice or veggies on top. But in this one, I literally have it all just packed in there. So
there's actually a bit of a pressure cooker element to this as well, right? Because it is sealed.
Yeah, so let me show you. What happens is there's a seal, there's a little ball in there, and when the pressure gets up, between 5 and 8 pounds, depending, that little ball will go up and let the pressure out the top.
Okay.
So it's actually cooking in kind of a low pressure environment.
Yeah.
The lid comes off, the whole thing comes apart, so you can actually wash all of this in a dishwasher, including the base. It's all high-grade steel, stainless steel. So this has an induction bottom on it. So I can turn this over so you can see. So you can use that on an induction stove or a regular cooktop. And since it's all high-grade stainless, you actually get a lifetime warranty, including the stone.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you guys even have some accessories here with the carrying case.
Yeah, right. So you can layer your food. The travel bag is awesome. It's got a platform bottom. It's lined. So you can actually have your food cooking while it's in here. So let's say I'm going camping, I can put all my accessories, get my food going. When I get there, it's cooked. And then I can eat my hot food, take out that stone, put it in a campfire, do a layered breakfast casserole, and you got a nice hot breakfast in the morning all cooked.
That is awesome. Yeah, my wife and I have just been talking about this since we talked to you yesterday, and we have a cabin up in the mountains, totally off grid.
Yeah.
So when we go from the farm to the cabin, it's like, this would be incredible, because we always talk about how do we cook in the car? How do we cook in the car? Yeah. That would be incredible to put that in there, take one of our pigs that we've processed, pork roast in there, some of the garden vegetables.
That's exactly how it works. So you can take it. We take it to ball games. We use it. I mean, we actually use it more than we use a slow cooker at home because why? I don't have to keep it plugged in and won't overcook my food. Yeah. And in a cabin environment, if you got a wood stove, heats that stone up wonderfully. You can even put the stone in the wood stove if you want to do that. It's just really flexible. So here's how I'd sum this up. In case of an emergency, very difficult to beat this because you can bake, grill, or use it as a slow cooker. You only need a fire, not even a big fire to make it work. But it's just convenient even if you're at home.
So do you all direct ship from the website? Are you distributor based? How do you handle it?
It's all direct from our website. If you go to rockpotusa.com, you order it there. We'll ship it anywhere in the U.S. and Canada.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so those are the 3 products that really jumped out at us. Like I said, we bought 2 of the 3. Maple syrup evaporator. Since Chad's just over the mountain, it doesn't make sense for us to do that. But I'm going to put links below to all 3 of those. You can check those out. And 2 of those we do have affiliate links associated with. So if you make a purchase there, obviously that helps us out. But we'll be doing some more follow-ups with the Rock Pot and the Coop Works because we're really excited with those products. And I think those are going to be a great fit for Red Tool House. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. Pray you have a great week. Take care.